punches are born. They're not made. You don't develop a puncher and make him, you improve his technique where he'll land cleaner, he'll land more often. But as far as pure, unadulterated power, no, that's God-given. He was a 7-1 underdog. When he fought him in the rematch, you would think that, he'd be the favorite. He was the underdog again. Why? Because he got satisfied. And so you could talk all you want about what you're going to do at that moment. It's kind of like coming out of a Rocky movie. The music's in your ears. You want to be a champion. You want to fight. You want to run. You want to do everything, really. You want to run up those steps. But then the next morning when the alarm clock rings and it's raining out and it's 5 o'clock in the morning, you might not want to get up and do it. And it's the same thing. Ruiz and his people, you could say, we're going to be better. And you should be better. And you should feel that way. And you should say those things. But then the alarm clock goes off. And you got to get up. And you got to do those things.
Live from ESPN Studios in South Beach. It's the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Hobbles in here for his 3 hours of work a day, bent over with his back hurting, saying he doesn't know how he hurt his back. And then I'm about to start the show, and what does he do? He decides that's the time he's going to give his opinion to the shipping container about Major League Baseball and said, go ahead, share with the audience so they can see what my eternal suffering feels like.
I was trying to get some clarity on the rule. What I realized was I thought the top wild card team could choose any team in Major League Baseball to play in the playoffs, and that would be great. Can you imagine if they chose the Marlins? 1-game scenario, 3-game scenario, 2-game scenario.
Well, you want to tell the audience what you're talking about?
Well, Major League Baseball has proposed a new playoff system where 7 teams would get in. 3 divisional winners, 4 wild card teams. The top wild card team will have its choice of any of the other 3 wild card teams that make the playoffs. I actually like it. I think it's clever. I think it's awesome. But I think that top wild card team should be able to choose from any team.
But you can make it better. You think it's okay?
Well, I mean, why not? I mean, a wild card team.
Why not?
But then that defeats the purpose of making the playoffs as a wild card team.
I mean, it's as dumb as anything you've said.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I mean, put 7 teams in, 14 teams. Half the teams are going to make the playoffs in Major League Baseball. I mean, is it really that dumb? I mean.
Yeah, because more than half aren't going to make it. Now you're putting one of them in for no good reason other than the other team wants to play against them. So, yes, it is that dumb.
Let's make a distinction here because it sounds even more confusing. This is per league. This is national and American, so that's 14 total.
Yes, but you guys wouldn't be intrigued if, let's say, the top wild card team is a 90-win
team. Can we discuss what it is versus you leaping already to the place how you can make it better?
Well, I told everyone what it is.
But I'd like to discuss with the group what the proposal is before you. I know you're going to try and fix baseball more than baseball is going to try and fix baseball. I know it's the show you always want to do.
I'm just glad baseball is trying to fix itself. I mean,
you're falling for that. You think that they're going to do this? You don't see what this is. They're trying to get you to forget about the Astros cheating guy. Have you ever heard of the CBA?
It works. I totally forgot about it. I was like,
playoffs. This is never going to happen. This is just, hey, guess what? We're going to try this crazy thing that's never going to get approved 3 years from now or whenever the new CBA is. You guys are so silly.
Man.
Party pooper, man.
What an effective distraction.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
So me.
We're always making the joke around here. This is this is the time that it's difficult for most sports shows to do a sports show because things slow down. Basketball regular season, we can't talk about pitchers and catchers reporting.
T's and C's.
Football is gone, and so
whoa.
Football is gone. That's a man who hasn't watched the XFL.
Yeah, he did this on the local hour. He's just disrespecting the XFL left and right. And there's a common theme. It's always the people that don't go out of their way to watch.
again, you keep saying that, and I keep telling you that I watched. And
Did you watch an entire game start to finish?
Start to finish. Was the sound on? Whistle to whistle, Dan.
So anyway, I mean, that's the standard.
Yeah.
Like, that's the standard. No, I didn't watch it like the Red Zone. It was on the television, and I gave it passing interest because it's
XFL
minor league
Red
football.
Zone.
There's
It's a
only one
great
game on at a
idea.
time, though.
One game on at a time.
Yeah.
Terrible idea.
Yeah.
Hopefully next year we have expansion.
Right.
It's this whole one game at a time thing. Although I don't get to miss a single game, which I'm very excited about.
So one of the things that always happens in February, inevitably, is some national sports radio show starts talking about how to fix baseball. It's a 20-year tradition. And now it's baseball that's talking about how to fix baseball. And it is a bit, you remember, Mike, we made the joke many years ago, whatever problem football was having, the solution was always, would you like more games? How about some more games and games that matter? That was always, we'll expand the playoffs. We'll expand the regular season. We'll give you more football somehow. Now baseball's saying, whatever problems it's having, how about more playoff teams? Because it's the last inventive thing that baseball did. Baseball rejects historically anything in the way of change, so much so that the first time that the wild cards made an appearance, a whole lot of people were bent out of shape. No sport likes change less than baseball. But we can't argue that this is an easy one. More playoff teams means the regular season matters more because we've arrived in a place in 2020 where there are way too many games. In basketball, in baseball, the regular season, you've diluted it so much that there's not a lot of reason to pay attention to game 100.
There are way too many meaningless games. You're right. Yes, they just don't mean anything.
Well, but but baseball has twice as many meaningless games as basketball does.
Yes.
And so you want the reason the wild card was smart, and man, Stugotz, I don't know if you remember this, but that idea was rejected, like summarily, by people, traditionalists. The idea of adding wild card teams was rejected. Next to no one liked that idea.
It was rejected by, universally, I feel like, it was rejected by people like me who later on wanted to put ponds in the outfield.
I know. Well, this is what's happening. Now baseball is sitting here, and baseball is taking a ridiculous Stugotz suggestion. Bounce houses in the outfield, ponds in the outfield, landmines in the outfield. Baseball is sitting here and saying, this sounds like something that Stugotz would invent. As Trevor Bauer calls, Manfred a joke, the solution is add more playoff teams, and also, if you have the best record, you get to choose the playoff team that you play against. It sounds like something I would reject if Stugotz came in here with it on a slow February day.
Why is it ridiculous, though?
I don't think it's ridiculous. I just think baseball, it doesn't normally do the Stugotz things. We talked, Mike, you could play for the audience. Stugotz asking Manfred, before our relationship rapidly deteriorated with the commissioner of baseball, Stugotz asking Manfred all of these ridiculous suggestions.
Our relationship?
And what ends up happening is Manfred goes to one of those things. Manfred says, as Trevor Bauer calls him a joke, Manfred says, hey, wacky playoff proposal. We're going to have 7 teams, and also the highest seed can pick who it plays against. You thought that they threw baseballs at people who disrespected them before. Let them be the team that gets picked by a 1 seed and see how many baseballs get thrown at people. Because it's going to be the first batter of the first game. They're just going to plunk it. How dare you disrespect us? But it's something a teenager would suggest. And I'm not criticizing it. They need teenagers. But it's something a teenager would suggest. Let the playoff team pick who it plays against.
I mean, I feel like the most baseball thing to do is if you're the team picking, you have to pick the best team because that's honorable, right? Not the worst team. Unwritten rule, Dan.
I mean, Dan, last year the Mets would have made the playoffs. I mean, under this format, the Mets would have made the playoffs. I mean, 86, 76, they make the playoffs. The D-backs would have made the playoffs last year, just 8 games above 500. I love it. More playoff games.
but I think it's just such an easy solution, and I'm not criticizing it. I'm thinking that baseball could, every time they have a problem, they could just say more playoff teams.
But what does it lack? Baseball lacks, more so than any sport, meaningful games. And this is providing viewers with more meaningful games. Who could not be for that? Who wouldn't be for that, honestly?
Well, let me ask you, how much criticism have you guys heard of this? Because the ones most likely to be upset by it are the people who are still going to baseball games. The fans you still have are the ones most likely to be bothered by this.
Criticism? I mean, the people that like baseball aren't on Twitter. I haven't heard any criticism. Universal praise. In fact, this is the first time that we've talked about baseball since all the cheating. So this is amazing.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. Golic and Wingo will be live this Friday from Chicago for the NBA All-Star Game, brought to you by Marathon. No matter where your travels take you, Marathon can improve your engine performance with quality top-tier gasoline. Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
Joe Posnanski, one of the great sports writers in America and a baseball traditionalist at his core. He could talk about slugging percentage and bunts for an hour without stopping. Writes on Twitter, expanding the playoffs and making it so that the top teams can pick their opponents is what I would imagine a hacker doing to try and ruin baseball.
Mm-hmm. He's part of the problem.
I'm just telling you, they're out there. They are out there.
Joe Paz, I mean, listen, man, either conform or continue to be part of the problem, because he is part of the problem. It's him, Bob Costas, and George Will. That's it.
I can't believe you know what conform means.
I can't either. Here's your SportsCenter update. Major League Baseball is exploring changing its playoff format, including increasing the number of teams from 10 to 14 with 3 division winners and 4 wild card teams, and the best team in each league receiving a wild card round bye. Also, a reality TV element would be added to determine which teams play each other in an expanded wild card round, similar to an NCAA tournament selection show. Oh, my God, one and done. I love it. Card play.
It's not one and done. I feel like you have no idea what these are.
D'Angelo Russell scored 20.
I love it. One and done. What's one and done?
I love it, man. Love it, man.
Love it. Love it.
It should be one and done.
Love it. Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell scored 22 points in his Timberwolves debut versus as Minnesota lost to the Raptors, who extended their winning streak to 15 straight games. Nick Nurse could flat out coach. SportsCenter brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Think ahead, think advance. At any time, 1 to 4 batteries is about to fail. Get a free battery test and free installation with any automotive battery purchase only at Advance Auto Parts. For all the latest headlines and information, tune to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
It is Dan and Stu from the Clevelander in South Beach on ESPN Radio.
Dan's FaceTiming habits know no bounds. I was FaceTiming with him before he hopped on a flight here recently, and I was FaceTiming with him as he was going through TSA. He put the phone in the bin, and my FaceTime was at one point going through the X-ray that would scan the luggage. I took a screen cap of it. It was wild.
Download the Vivid Seats app and enter promo code ESPN25 at checkout to get 10% off your next order. Don't buy just any seat, get a Vivid seat. Golic and Wingo will be live this Friday from Chicago for the NBA All-Star Game, brought to you by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance.
You can tweet the show at Batard Show on Twitter, and many of you are loud. You're upset. Somebody writes in, Bobby Knight didn't give a bleep because that's a coaching style for people who aren't weak. Anyone who criticizes him wouldn't be able to handle it. Neil Reed was weak and not good enough to play, and that's why he came out, because he was soft.
He's that guy.
Thank you for all of your efforts, sir, defending the idea of a coach who is a dictator dinosaur putting his hands on people. Another tweeter writes in, Dan, you're a hypocrite. Bob Knight never cheated. He just said things that upset you. The Patriots are known cheaters, and you praise them. You, sir, do not get your own show. One is a POS, and the others are known cheaters. How do you praise either?
You don't get the show.
What's wrong, Mike?
That's the first time I've heard that you're like a Patriots guy.
Yeah, well, you need to back off a little bit because somebody's got something for you here. Dan, can we have just one day without this Mike Ryan Ruiz guy? He's trying so hard to sound like Mike Golick Jr., but instead he sounds like Kermit the Frog. His takes are terrible and his jokes aren't funny. Please, Dan, just give us the classic Dan and Stu.
Kermit the Frog.
Is that what you're going for? Go, Joe?
That's what you were aspiring to? You're trying to sound like Mike Golick Jr.?
That's quite the high bar.
That's my lane.
So put it on the poll. Speaking of white guys, do you know who John Tesh is? Chris, Billy, do you know who John Tesh is?
No.
Mike Ryan has just handed me his book. I think there are a lot of people like Chris out there. Billy, do you know who John Tesh is?
We've done this before, and I always confuse John Tesh for
yes or no question.
No. From the movie American Wedding. I always confuse John Tesh for the guy that was like the pimp that was acting like a maid in American Wedding. You know who I'm talking about? Google it.
Thank you. Excellent, excellent work by you. Go ahead and sit in the penalty box for 2 minutes.
You deserve that, man.
Wow.
John Tesh makes music from a different time, but he's also made music that is uniquely famous in sports.
I remember when I first found out John Tesh did music, it was shocking because to me, he was always the host of Entertainment Tonight.
That's how I thought of him. I didn't know. It was shocking to me as well. Put that on the poll before you leave, Guillermo. Was it shocking to you to learn that the host of Entertainment Tonight also could fill a concert hall with music goers? Now, if you're not familiar with most of his work, and he is a rollicking fun guy, and he's got hair and a look from it's just from a different time. It is totally 90s Entertainment Tonight.
And he's like 6'8".
Yes.
The man is tall.
There's that, too. I've got in front of me the John Tesh book, Relentless.
You know why you've got that, Dan?
Unleashing a Life of Purpose, Grit, and Faith.
Upcoming guest on South Beach Sessions.
I'm looking forward to
Nice.
talking to him, at least in part, because he's the creator. Stugotz, did you know this? He is the creator of this song.
Goosebumps. I did know that, though. Yeah, I did know that. That's the only thing I know about him. I mean,
What are some sounds that you associate with? It doesn't have to be sports, although, Netflix, it's very purposeful, the way Netflix comes out with a sound that you recognize as soon as a show is starting. People pour a lot of money into figuring out what are the things that are going to echo with people that are going to be recognizable as soon as it hits your ear.
it's so funny you went Netflix. I was going to say Netflix because I've been watching so many shows there lately, and that little Netflix stamp right at the beginning of the show, I mean, it makes you feel like you're going to watch something big, man.
They're all second place to HBO. I mean, right? HBO, the shh.
I was going to say TMZ.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it's a good one.
Yeah.
How about in sports, though? When you think of, ESPN's got a sound that,
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da.
100%.
Who's
yeah.
knocking that off? If we're talking about just sort of a theme song, a sound, and how high are we ranking the John Tesh song there? Because I don't know. I immediately am taken back to a different time when I hear that music.
When ESPN had hockey.
I
Oh,
still, every time it happens, I've known you for 15 years, and every time it happens, I'm just confused by you.
Why?
Because it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, people do know what you're talking about, but it just doesn't make any sense to me that your mind always goes first to hockey things. I have not evolved enough to. I'm sorry.
I love sports.
I'm
Dan.
sorry. I understand that you love sports, Roy, but every time I see you in a hockey jersey, look. This is I've said before, we all carry a little bit of racism in us, and this is something that exists inside me. Every time your mind goes immediately to hockey, I know of no other black person wandering the earth like you.
What? Black people can't like hockey? Dan?
I'm not saying that. Well, I guess I kind of was.
I guess you are.
They don't like hockey. I'm not making that up.
We do like hockey, Dan. We do.
You don't go with a bunch of black
You don't make
friends
the
to
rules
the
here, Dan.
games.
I don't think you make the rules here.
Stop being myopic. This is a stereotypical opinion that you have.
And speaking of you being myopic, number one with a bullet is the Champions League theme song.
The champion.
It's not even close worldwide.
Am I the only one that finds it odd that Roy's mind, no matter what we're talking about, the first place he ends up is hockey? I'm the only one that finds that unusual.
He goes to hockey games with a guy named Jim DeJoseph and Chuck Metzger.
Look,
That's
I
odd.
don't dance now. I make money moves.
Roy, have you ever gone to a hockey game or watched a hockey game with another black person who is not in your family?
Of course I have. My friend Tommy and Antoine.
Tom, yeah.
There you go.
He's friends with Tom. Tom goes to those places.
So you got 3 black men in the same place watching hockey. How about that?
I once took Roy to the Roundup in Davie, and he brought his friend Tom. Man, what a sight to behold. It was also firefighter calendar night.
Oh, boy, what a night.
Yeah, I was far away from that one. I was eating a slab of ribs upstairs.
3 days away, and if you're not ready yet, I'm going to have to come to your house and fight you, and I'm going to bring a crowbar with me. 1-800-FLOWERS, people. You got to take care of this before Friday. Do not be an idiot. Tell them, God.
Yup, I would take care of it today because today only you can get 18 red roses for just $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. That's it. To order 18 red roses for just $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. It's simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Dan. Hurry, the offer ends today.
Dale, you are listening to the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
You know that this show for a long time has had an obsession with Chewbacca.
Chewy.
We have a Chewbacca file around here, and we need to empty it now that Peter Mayhew has passed away. What is Chewbacca Silent Night? Chris is dancing. What is happening here? Play Chewbacca Silent Night.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts thing. And so they sent out their chief baseball officer. Now, I don't know what that title means, but things in sports are changing. Like, I don't totally understand this chief of staff thing that the Cleveland Browns are doing, and the University of Miami just hired Ed Reed to be a chief of staff.
The Red Sox sent out their CBO.
They sent out their chief baseball officer, and his name, and he looks like his name, okay? His name is Chaim, Chaim Bloom.
White guys. White.
Chaim Bloom came out. That poor guy had to explain to Boston Red Sox fans who are wondering why it is that they've traded their best position player since Ted Williams over monetary concerns, and that guy is the guy who had to come out in front of people. Now, that doesn't mean he's their general manager, right? Does it?
It's pronounced Chaim.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
No, he's their CBO, Dan, not their GM.
So it's Chaim Bloom.
Yep, that's a fine.
Regardless, is it a fine? Yeah, it probably should be a fine.
What'd you call him?
Chaim is what I called him.
Chaim.
Go ahead and put it on the poll, Guillermo. Did you know the C in Chaim was silent and was Chaim? I did not know that is how that was spelled.
It's like Hanukkah.
Thank you, Stugotz. I appreciate it. Thanks for all your help there.
You got it.
What do these chief of staffs do? Can someone explain it to me? Like, Ed Reed? Does Ed
For
Reed
Miami?
Well, the one in Cleveland and the one in at Miami.
Cleveland has one?
I believe the Cleveland Browns just hired a chief of staff.
I know they were trying to take Alonzo Highsmith, who was working with the Cleveland Browns at the time as a chief of staff. But what Ed Reed is in charge of at the University of Miami is bringing the program back. And he did that already. Recruited the #1 safety in the nation. Someone from Florida. How about that? Use back. Excellent chief of staff.
Can we look this up for a second? Because it would be surprising to me if I knew something about the Cleveland Browns that you did not know, which I thought they just did as part of their front office overhaul as they've gone back and forth between, we're going to be football guys, we're going to be numbers guys. They're back on numbers guys, and I thought they hired a chief of staff.
No, they did. You were absolutely right. They hired Callie Brownson.
Ah, Callie.
White guys. White.
What's his responsibilities, though? Like, does the coach answer to him? Does he answer to the coach, GM? Like, what's the org chart here?
At the University of Miami, it's murky. In fact, neither Manny Diaz nor Ed Reed really understand how much recruiting Ed Reed can do.
Where should the chief of staff be on the org chart? Because
should be above the head coach and below the athletic director, but Manny Diaz specifically has contract language dictating that you can't really have someone ahead of him that isn't Blake James.
Callie Brownson is a woman.
Mike Ryan sent me what can only be described as ghetto marketing by the University of Miami as they tried to fire Blake James, the athletic director, with a truck, a jalopy that was just making its way through the streets. And it was out of the flea market. Mike, it's the most poorly run. It's the biggest waste of money I've ever seen, and it's the most poorly run campaign I've ever seen. Where just driving down a side street in Miami is a truck that has some graphics, I suppose I'll say, that tells people to fire athletic director Blake James.
That is a hefty fine I need to pay for white guys.
Yes, you totally need to pay. What is that? What is that fine?
Just going off a name alone.
Okay.
Callie Brownson.
What'd you pay for Chaim? I mean,
Callie's a woman's name, by the way.
I put $1 out
I thought
there
it was like
Chaim.
California. I don't know what I was doing.
All right, go sit in the penalty box for 2 minutes.
Well deserved.
Feel free to get out of here. I should probably sit with you. I want to know what did you think when you drove past that truck and the marketing was fire Blake James and they can't even afford a banner to fly behind a plane? It's just a truck making its way down an alley.
Yeah, well, it wasn't down an alley. It was on US 1, so I think it's just circling the campus. But, yeah, not effective, really. He's going to stick around. I'm going to go to the penalty box.
Okay, see ya. I am fascinated by this chief of staff. Like, chief of staff or head coach? Who are you listening to first? The chief of staff sounds bigger. It does.
Well, but I don't even understand what it means, is what I'm saying. If you're the chief of staff, the coach is on the staff, isn't he? Isn't the coach a part of the staff? It's your coaching staff.
Right,
So,
you're his chief.
I mean, that's what it feels like.
The head of the police is the chief of police, right? So that's like the top, I think.
So Ed Reed is running the University of Miami's football program? I'm fine with that, by the way. He should be, but is that the deal? He's in charge?
If it was a police department, but it's a football program, so I don't know. You want me to leave too? I'll just go.
Look, I don't dance now. I make money moves.
You quit kicking yourself out. Sit back down. It's less fun when you kick yourself out than it is when we kick you out.
So what is the police commissioner? The AD?
Right, this is very confusing.
Your car is in need of some maintenance.
CBO.
Advance Auto Parts has all the things you need to maintain your car. Tell them, Stugotz.
Yep, the football season is over. Now your Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays are dreadfully open until August. Luckily, Advance Auto Parts has something productive you can do to fill the time. Getting your vehicle's battery tested. It's free, and if your battery is low, they'll install your new one with purchase. Plus, enter the code DAN20 when you buy online to save 20%. That's DAN20 to save 20%. The only shame is how fast you'll get in, out, and back to twiddling your thumbs until football starts up again. Think ahead. Think advance. Only at Advance Auto Parts.
See. Very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
His friend People put together an epic speech for the weekend. So we're going to give the people what they want.
There are many people on this bandwagon who at the end of last season said to yourself, maybe even shared it openly, you said we got robbed. But for the strong, para los caballos, when we drink cafecito, nos enfocamos.
What a great word in Spanish. Like, we need to start shouting and chanting this throughout South Florida. Enfócate.
If you missed any of our interviews, check them out on demand in the Dan Le Batard podcast, brought to you by Eno, the Capital One assistant that catches things that might look wrong with your credit card, sends an alert to your phone, and helps you fix them. Capital One, what's in your wallet? See CapitalOne.com for details. All guests on the Dan Le Batard show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
Dianna Russini will be there in 45 minutes. Chris Cody, this is rare for someone to walk in and point a sausage finger gun at us and say, I've got a stat of the day. I have a stat of the day, but let's get to it. And let's not waste any time. Short version, please, Mike. Chris Cody says he's got a stat of the day.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
This stat comes courtesy of Josh Eberly from Hoop Mag. The Lakers' net rating when LeBron and Anthony Davis are on the court, plus 10.5. The Lakers' net rating when LeBron is on the court without Anthony Davis, plus 11.9. The Lakers' net rating with Anthony Davis on the floor without LeBron, negative 7.4. It's a stat that makes you say,
So explain
That last part
to
was
me-
not the stat. I added that part.
You added that
I liked
part.
it. Nice
I
wrinkle.
feel like there was, you correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Because I can't hear you guys when you speak on the mic. I cannot hear you guys until you speak on the mic. You guys are in a soundproof room, but I felt like Billy and Mike were applying an enormous amount of pressure on you. I was just looking at their faces. You're going to screw this up. You're going to read it poorly. You're going to mess something up. And they were rooting for you to mess it up. Is that not what was happening?
They were heckling me, saying, hey, you're going to read this just fine. It's just reading me. You got it.
I was cheering him on. I was cheering him on.
You won't mess.
I was hoping that he would.
You got this. You're good. I believe in you.
Yes, yes.
Stuff like that. Positive messages.
I've had faith in you for the first time ever.
You, Billy, the look on your face, I was looking directly at your face, and all you were doing is rooting for a coworker to fail.
False. I was
It
giving
isn't
nothing
false.
but positive vibes.
No, if you needed further proof, the shock on your face is when he got it right.
You guys applauded. The two of you applauded him
Happy.
reading 3 sentences successfully and making a sound at the end. Like you'd just seen the dismount on Kerry Strug's routine.
How about that stat, huh?
It didn't make me say, No.
Um,
These are not large numbers.
Anthony Davis, bring them down.
It was more of a.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah,
that'll
yeah.
correct
You know
itself.
what? I'm with Roy on that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a It was more You're totally right, Roy. That did not deserve the Arsenio Hall things that make you go,
Yeah, more of a meh.
I think it's telling. Not sure what it's telling me, but it's telling.
I think it's telling. I just don't understand what it's telling me. Billy, why have you and Stugotz become obsessed with the Dallas Renegades quarterback?
Have you seen him, Dan?
The underwear model?
Philip Nelson. He's doing himself such a disservice playing in the XFL. I'm sorry. I know that, we should be rooting for the XFL and all that stuff. He only has things to lose by this. As it is, he cut his hair. Horrific decision by Philip Nelson. Do you know what he looks like with his haircut? He still looks great, but not as great as he did when he had long hair. Have you seen his abs?
Did he cut his hair because he's now a serious football guy, or as quarterback he can't have long hair?
He cut his hair to play football more comfortable in the helmet, but Billy is right. Before he cut his hair with the abs, I mean, this is a model who does not need to risk it all playing in the XFL.
Chris
He
just
does
saw
not.
him.
Oh, this
Yeah.
guy's a looker.
He's dreaming.
Oh, my
You remember the first time? Well, you guys don't remember this, but the first time, Dan, you saw Brad Pitt and Thelma and Louise. I mean, I had a similar feeling the first time I saw this guy. I'm serious, man. Dreamy. Whoa.
You know he's risking injuring himself? Could you imagine that face with a scar on it? No.
All right.
No.
So how beautiful is he? Explain it to me. I have not seen. I just saw Bob Stoops. Mike is biting his lower lip. Mike, is that Desire? So he is.
Oh, he's got the hair in a bun.
Oh yeah, that stomach is very strong.
Remember Charlie Whitehurst, how everyone thought that he was good looking? But better. Charlie Whitehurst would be like this guy's stunt double whose face they don't show because it's ugly compared to this guy.
Are you suggesting that Charlie Whitehurst could even be the body double? Because nowhere near close.
I mean, this guy's got a hint of Jesus. I
he
mean,
their
seriously.
Is he their starter?
There is a hint
this
of
the starter
Jesus.
for them?
He does have a hint. Well, he is now because what's his name is
Landry
out. Landry
Jones.
Jones is out.
I was told that Landry Jones was the face of the XFL, and boy, were they
Wait a minute.
lying.
Wait a minute. You guys are giving some high praise. I remind you that one of the most recent times we've called Charlie Whitehurst and fawned over what a looker he is. He was in a cabin somewhere with Jewel. Like that, he answered the phone,
Good point.
and he was like on a bearskin rug, shirtless, and Jewel was in the background. This guy's hotter than Whitehurst.
Yep.
More Jesus.
¿Qué pasa, USA? It is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Sir Mike Ryan, 5 years married now, showers with his wife every time.
They have dual shower heads.
Every
should be
time they
noted.
shower, they want to shower together. Does Charlie Weiss, what the percentage of the time that Charlie Weiss is showering with
Charlie
Jewel?
Whitehurst.
Charlie Whitehurst.
Charlie Weiss.
I don't know about
Char-
that.
different guy.
I
Wow,
think he's
that
doing
vid-
it by himself.
I just
He's doing it by himself. It's like size problems, you know. No, I mean I've
Charlie
showered
Weiss can only
with-
shower by himself.
That's what I'm getting.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Small business protection just got easier with more than 30 coverage options available. Progressive has you covered. More at progressivecommercial.com. Dianna Russini, 30 minutes from now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. Little hiccup there, sorry.
You're doing great. The rest is easy. Keep reading.
Voice sounds better, huh?
Yeah.
Broke out during the break. One of the participants said, not for air, not for air, not for air, because he's afraid of all Jesus-related content and also just always afraid. So
Roy?
What ended up happening after that is Roy was incredulous. Roy didn't understand why we kept giving Jesus six-pack abs if he were alive today.
Yeah, Jesus is a linebacker right now, huh?
And Billy was saying, for reasons I can't totally discern, how many followers do you think Jesus would have today on Instagram?
Probably a lot, right? You would think a lot.
I mean, one would.
Because even people would hate follow him, right?
Well, but he's got to have the resume of Jesus. He can't be like what Jesus was back when Jesus was Jesus, which is just claiming something and then he was crucified because not enough people believed him.
Probably not as many as Taylor Swift.
Duh, obviously, says Billy. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Who would have more followers on Instagram today, Jesus Christ or Taylor Swift? Why did we make him look like Jason Momoa? Is it because all the
renderings? I mean,
well, but the renderings aren't that beautiful. The renderings aren't that perfect of Jesus. I don't think that Jesus was viewed as somebody who was classically handsome. I don't believe that Jesus was beefcake. I'm not saying he was ugly. Do not put that on me. Do not call me a blasphemer. I'm not saying he was ugly. I just don't think we were talking about models. We were talking about Charlie Whitehurst and whoever it is that's quarterbacking the Renegades.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who find Jesus attractive, Dan.
Okay, but I'm not saying he's not attractive. I'm just saying he's not Instagram underwear model. I'm saying he's not Instagram underwear model, and you guys are making him Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa is one of those people that people remember where they were when they saw him for the first time.
So is Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you know, right? I mean,
what do you
when's
mean?
the last time you looked at Jesus? I mean, honestly, I
think you want to just sit out this entire conversation.
I've got him
a simple question.
I've got him looking more like Idris Elba.
Ah, yes, that's a good one. I like that.
Really? Yeah, that's interesting. Is Idris Elba indeed going to be the next 007? What's the word on that? What happened, Billy?
How long have we been hearing that for? Let's make it happen already.
Transition.
Like
Solid
10
pivot.
years.
Well, Dan. No! Really?
Oh, a fresh batch of questions.
Jason Momoa's first name is
Joe
Momoa wouldn't work.
Joe Christ.
But Put it on the poll. Would you think Jason Momoa were handsome and famous and popular if his name was Joe?
Momoa.
Would you go streaking across a football field during a game for $1 million, knowing there's a 50-50 chance you'll get arrested for indecent exposure?
Oh.
Yes.
Well, I feel like in our line of work, it's more than 50-50 that I'd get fired. Is it?
No, you'd get fired.
Right.
Yes, if you were arrested for, right? If any of us were arrested.
I just explained what's on the line. Yeah, I did it because there's how much? $500,000?
$1 million
$1 million?
is a lot of
I
money.
did it for $1 million.
That's a lot of
Dan
money.
told me to do it.
I think a lot of people.
Right.
I think a lot of people. Would do it.
I'm
for
on the
$1
fence on
million.
that.
People do it for free all the time.
People do it for the attention, like that drunk guy at the XFL game.
Yeah.
That guy. Whew.
I thought the same thing. If he was flopping around.
Impressive.
It was impossible not to notice. It was impossible not to notice. That guy, in fact, I thought he had a prosthetic. I'm like, I thought that's something that he's doing to be funny. Like in fact, you need to look it up right now, if you don't mind, Chris, even though you might get fired for this as well. Look up that guy and you tell me whether that was a prosthetic or not. Because I legitimately thought that the way that guy left the field, because his arms were so far behind his back, because he was jutting out his pelvis the way that he was, I thought that he was doing something to be funny there. I did not think that was real. I thought that was fake. I didn't think that... You got the magic creative content has taken us from Jesus to the size of this guy's endowment. Don't blame that on me. I didn't do that.
It's a hell of a segment, man.
It's either real or he's trying to smuggle like a.
Oh, wow. The rare double magic great.
I'm so interested in what it is you had him smuggling. $1 million. I feel like almost anybody would do that for $1 million, except extraordinarily rich people. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Yep. Only had a rich person to ask. Dan?
It would end up costing me more than $1 million. Because I would lose my job instantaneously, wouldn't I? Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Lebitard Show. At Lebitard Show. Put it on the poll. Would Dan lose his job immediately if he was arrested for streaking across a field?
There's no way. I mean, you'd be fine. What? I mean, seriously? You make more than $1 million? I mean,
what's the best type of cheese is the question. What is the best type of cheese?
Question.
We all follow Andrew Marchand. What's the best type of cheese is the question.
What are we talking about here? For like a sandwich? Or are we talking about
I'm gonna
just
say
like I want to eat
soup.
it by itself?
if you had to eat straight cheese, that's it.
It's a different
Just
game.
a slice, just a sliver of cheese.
But isn't American cheddar the best cheese?
No.
No. First off, a sharp cheddar is the best of the cheddar category.
You sound like someone that makes well under $1 million.
Yeah.
Well, what are you guys? You're here with Gouda, with Limburger, with what? What are you guys doing?
Mackin.
Yeah. Mackin.
Munster.
I like a Munster.
Ooh, a Munster, yeah.
That's a sandwich cheese, though.
I like
Yeah.
pepper
I
jack.
like Parmesan. Call me old-fashioned. I like a nice Parmesan cheese
By
wine
itself?
pairing.
You know what?
Parmesan
Wine
cheese by
pairing.
itself.
Gruyere. How about that? French onion soup. Deal with it.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
What if we put it on a
Brie.
cracker? What if we put it on a cracker?
How about a nice
Baked
little
brie.
mozzarella?
Some of that
Baked
crack.
brie's good.
Put it on the crack
Buffalo-
cheese there.
buffalo
the slice.
mozzarella?
Yeah.
Pay that man his money.
What was he trying to smuggle?
A Yeti cup.
Facility managers know that Granger can help their facility hum like a finely tuned engine. Tell them, Stugotz.
Yep, running your business is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year job. Every problem, every solution is up to you. When a problem arises and you need a solution, Granger's got your back. Whether you need critical items fast, something isn't working like it should, or you just can't find exactly what you're looking for, Granger's ready to help because you don't stop, neither do they. Granger has 24/7 customer support, sourcing specialists, and same-day pickup and delivery. Don't forget about their on-demand products and technical expertise. Whatever you need, whenever you need it, Granger's got your back. Call, click Granger.com, or stop by a branch. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the Dan Levitar Show on ESPN Radio.
If you missed any of our interviews, check them out on demand in the Dan Le Batard podcast, brought to you by the Capital One Saver Card. Earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, 2% at grocery stores, 1% on all other purchases. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Dan, it's time for Straight Talk. It is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless.
Dianna Russini will be here in 15 minutes to talk about football, XFL, maybe take your calls as her mother, 786-456-4837. If you want to try that from a distance, we'll see if that works from a distance or not as well. I'm curious whether you guys saw what broke out the other day on social media when Nick Wright dared to question how good Andrew Wiggins actually is, saying he's a formed player, even though he's young, and basically saying he's a formed loser. And this got Matt Barnes and some other people upset. Some people do believe, Steve Kerr gave voice to it. He said flatly, D'Angelo Russell was a bad fit here. That's why he was traded. And we believe Andrew Wiggins will flourish in a Harrison Barnes type role once Steph Curry gets back. But Nick Wright said, we know what this guy is. And what he is a guy who will get his stats and lose. And I'm curious what you guys think of that, because it's not often that I hear early in a career from a guy who is clearly talented, that guy is a loser. You staple your chances to him and you're going to lose. Colin Cowherd did it to John Wall, and it's a little bit hard to argue because John Wall has since gotten hurt. Colin Cowherd did it to John Wall simply because he did the Dougie coming out during introductions one time, and he said he's not serious enough as a basketball player. He's doing the same sort of thing to Baker Mayfield now.
But it's a different role for Andrew Wiggins. I would agree with Nick Wright. If he's your first or second best player, your team's probably not going to be that good. If he's your fourth option, and that's what he'll be when Draymond Green is healthy, when Klay Thompson is healthy, when Steph Curry is healthy, he might be your third option. That's a pretty good third or fourth option. He has to learn to hit the three at a higher percentage, but I believe he can do that.
Well, I'm just surprised, though, because what's happened since there is he's gotten some numbers, and Golden State has lost all its games, and Minnesota, as soon as he left, won after having whatever it was, a very long losing streak with Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins is the person that most people are pointing to when they say Jimmy Butler was looking around here and saying, this is all soft around here. This isn't this hell, you had Glenn Taylor, the owner of the Timberwolves, was saying, I need to meet personally with Andrew Wiggins to see if he's serious about what it takes to deserve some of this big money. He put his name on that publicly.
I mean, Wiggins has only been gone a couple of games. T-Wolves lost last night. It's just, for me, it's just a better fit. Is he a career loser? It's a bit harsh. I wasn't expecting him to be this massive winner when he came out of college.
No, but he was drafted very high. And
I know he was.
No, wait a minute. Like, Andrew Wiggins was
expectations for him coming out were sky high.
Ja Morant-ish, right?
Yeah, he was the number one overall pick, right? He was traded for Kevin Love. He was supposed to be a player on that level, and when he was the third option for Minnesota, when Jimmy Butler was there and healthy, Minnesota was pretty decent, so he can be on a decent team while being the third option.
But there's no scenario, Mike, where that doesn't work out for the Warriors, and right? Like, there's no scenario. He's going to be good there because most people who go there are going to be good, especially someone with that skill set.
But Harrison Barnes now is the comp, and that just simply wasn't what he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be the greatest Canadian basketballer.
I was made to feel pretty ancient the other day, as often happens here, when I realized that Marvin Williams had been in the league for a decade and a half.
Crazy.
When you talk about guys who can be serviceable for a long time, Andrew Wiggins can play for 15 years in the NBA.
Yeah, he'll play to his mid-30s, Andrew Wiggins.
Marvin Williams, how much can you just give me the career earnings? I saw yesterday, good Lord, Michael Jordan's team in Charlotte is a regional team that is an afterthought, where Kemba Walker, when he's playing there, says, I never had a game announced by Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson. He had to go to Boston to get that. Marvin Williams has played as an afterthought in Charlotte for a long time. He's changed teams plenty since then.
Just under $108 million.
Can someone help me understand how Michael Jordan is going to dig himself out of that? Because I saw last night they played one of these games against Detroit. What was the score of that game? It was like in the 70s or the 80s.
According to Spotrac, over 15 seasons, he actually has close to $124 million made in cash earnings. He's played for Atlanta, Utah, Charlotte, and now that's actually fewer teams than I thought. Michael Jordan does not draft well.
Do you realize
not that this was on him?
Do you realize how hard it is, though, to make $124 million and not have a single play in 15 years that anyone remembers?
He averages 10 points a game.
But I'm asking you a question. Do you know how hard it is to play for a decade and a half? I mean, Bogdanovich has hit multiple game winners.
Yeah,
like
there isn't a single Marvin
There's
Williams
nothing
play.
you remember. Go ahead and give it to me. Give me the game, the day, the moment that you remember involving Marvin Williams, who has played for a decade and a half in the league and made $124 million.
Against the Heat, he's hit a couple open corner threes over his career. Nothing that's like a huge shot that sticks out.
There's no moment, though. Like Chris Middleton has a moment, right? Yeah. There's no moment for Marvin Williams.
That's incredible. That's incredible that you can make $124 million.
You'd think you'd stumble into one.
Yeah.
You'd think you'd stumble into a moment that we remember.
He was drafted ahead of Chris Paul.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Lebitard Show. Does Charlotte remember a moment in Marvin Williams's career? Mike, can you just look up the score for me last night, please, of the Detroit-Charlotte game? Because there are a lot of bad teams in the NBA right now. And some of these good teams that are surprising you, the Indianas and the Denvers and the Miamis and the Torontos, they are feasting on these terrible teams that are in the league.
Oof, terrible. 87-76.
Yeah. The Pistons had 37 at half.
Oof.
Played in this game.
I didn't even think that was possible in the modern NBA. A team, that's a Knicks Heat score from the 90s. How is it possible that an NBA team scored 76 points in a basketball game?
I mean, look at this Pistons lineup.
Have you seen their starting five?
Wow.
Thon Maker's in it.
Wow.
That is Straight Talk, and it's brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less, only at Walmart.
Pay that man his money.
Dianna Russini is going to join us next, but right now my anger is slowly rising at the sheer number of times I have to remind you people that Valentine's Day is fast approaching. You're going to sit on your lazy bums, your tuchuses, your heinies. You're going to sit on them, and you're not going to do a thing. And I'm going to come to your house, and I'm going to rip your teeth right out of your face. 1-800-Flowers. Tell them, Stugotz.
Do it today so Dan doesn't come to your house and rip your teeth out of your face. Today only, you get 18 red roses for just $29.99. Today only. Did you hear me? 18 red roses, $29.99. Good luck beating that. Oh, I will. Upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. You're welcome. To order 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. It's simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Dan. Hurry. The offer expires today.
You're engulfed in the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Tom Brady, give me Jimmy G, Italians all the way.
This is going well. Let's go to, you want to end it right now, Mikey? Yeah, you're done. Going on top. It's a good Italian boy.
I just feel like I need to clarify. This is exactly how she sounds, and she knows it. So, sorry about that, Ma. Stop talking about Sammy. The run defense is what you should be worried about.
Standing ovation. I don't know.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, unbelievable.
My poor mom. Oh, you guys are so sweet.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it was presented by Progressive Insurance. Dianna Russini going to join us in just a second here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Tamika Catchings, Lauren Jackson, and Swin Cash will be among those inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame on June 13th. In the XFL, the LA Wildcats have fired defensive coordinator Pepper Johnson. Guy got a game. I mean, gave up 37 points in that game. Wildcats lost 37-17 to the Houston Roughnecks. Sorry, Pepper. And finally, it is believed that Sir Isaac Newton died a virgin. It's unfortunate. Still looking for a Valentine's Day gift? Gift a half-carat total weight diamond heart pendant and your choice of yellow, white, or rose gold. Now, only $299.99 at Hellsberg Diamonds. That's a $400 savings, and that's how you bring home a W. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
If you want to ask football questions of Dianna Russini's mother, 786-456-4837 is the telephone number. We also have to ask her about this Pepper Johnson story, and we have to ask her to see if she will infiltrate or contaminate one of the XFL broadcasts. You could see Dianna sideline New York Guardians and DC Defenders this Saturday, 2 p.m. on ABC.
I mean, a battle of undefeateds here. Huge rivalry game. Both teams 1-0. Playoff implications. I mean, this game's got it all.
Yeah, Updated Futures sees this as a matchup of the two favorites to win the XFL title. Wow.
But before we do any of that, including all of this corporate shilling that everyone is doing on behalf of the XFL on ESPN and Fox, we have to wish a happy birthday of an undetermined age to Dianna Russini.
Happy birthday to
her.
I don't care. Good luck.
Are you doing
the big 5-0?
Are you doing anything fun for your birthday, Dianna? What are your plans? Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me on. I am spending the day with my younger sister, who is a few days away from popping out her first child. So I'm just feeding her and taking care of her today. So it's actually a perfect birthday for me today.
How does mom feel? Like younger sister? How does mom feel? Grandchild, and she's delivering.
God.
I'm just
Forget mom.
Doing?
How do you feel?
What are you doing? You just hit her with the big 5-0.
No, because Dianna has achieved amazing things in her life and her career, and her mom is somehow disappointed in all of them. And I'm just wondering how that goes over with the family. That's all.
Yeah, she's not too thrilled that my sister, who is 6 years younger than me, is having a child before I am. In fact, my sister was engaged, married, a homeowner, and now a soon-to-be mother way before, me, obviously. So it's definitely an issue. In fact, they had a little birthday party for me on Sunday, and, I mean, the remarks were it was just the passive aggressiveness during dinner was consistent. My older brother brought up the fact that the XFL had a successful first day. He said, I mean, not that he thought I did a good job, but he's like, hey, I saw that people watched. I heard, that's cool. And my mom definitely chimed in. She's like, yeah, I saw that. I thought you looked a little dizzy. You don't look like you were very fit. You should probably do more cardio. I'm like, no, I know. So
No.
it's definitely an issue. Yeah.
No.
Her mom is harsh.
No,
man.
it's not hard enough for women in sports without your mom being one of your enemies.
Yeah, it always goes back to the same thing, though, and it's basically just the fact that I don't have children, right? So it's not really the fact that I'm not good at my job. I don't really think she knows what's good anyway in terms of reporting. Just to her, she sees me and sees poor lady going to wind up alone, and no children it's just like a sin in my family. So it's all right. I'm going to live through my sister, and hopefully Camille will get over it. I mean, again, if I just got on Good Morning America, it would change. And her comment, her overall thought, though, on the XFL, because I did ask her, I was like, you watched the whole game. What's like your one takeaway? You got to wear more lipstick.
What's your mom say about your phone line? I mean,
You are being a real agitator here. 1-786-456-4837 is the telephone number. I don't know why I put the 1 in front of it.
I'm part of the Russini family. That's why I'm doing it.
786. I think you feel like you're more comfortable with this family than she might feel. 456-4837. What happened with Pepper Johnson? Honestly, like, how do you fire a defensive coordinator after one game?
So I'm on NFL Live yesterday, and we're talking about Phillip Rivers, and it crosses my phone, and I'm like, wait, what? It's one game. What are we doing here? Because, a lot of I think the advantages of coaching in the XFL is there isn't this feeling you're going to lose your job. We're happy you're here. Let's make this work. And I'm not really sure if there are a lot of other options if these guys don't stay in place. But apparently something happened. We don't know as of right now. Unfortunately, my title is not insider of the XFL just yet. But, yeah, that was certainly a really big surprise, especially considering really what a success. And, Dan, I know it kind of sounds like corporate shilling, as you mentioned. And believe me, I've noticed it, too. I'm like, man, I got everyone at ESPN texted me, can I get T-shirts? Can I get hats? And I love the enthusiasm. But some of it is authentic because, look, I was on the show with you guys 2 weeks ago. I told you I wasn't really sure how good the football was going to be. I knew the characters would be great. I know the broadcast team of Greg McElroy and Steve Levy and Tom Luginbill on my show was going to be spectacular. But if you don't have good football, it's not going to work. And the fact that it was solid, I think it's definitely giving us hope. But we still got a long ways to go.
Mike, I'm super frustrated here because her phone line is not good enough to not be a tune-out, but not bad enough to let her go.
Yeah, we're caught in a state of limbo here. Are you on Bluetooth, Diana?
No, I'm not. I got full bars, and I'm at a diner in New Jersey. I'm not.
Oh, that explains it. It's okay. We'll push on. Is a kinder, gentler Kevin Gilbride exactly what the doctor ordered for the New York Guardians?
Oh, yeah.
For the love of God.
1-0.
Are you really asking me a serious XFL question right now? I don't know.
We're serious. We love the league. What do you mean?
Okay, no, that's good.
What'd you order at the diner?
A better question.
I ordered mozzarella sticks and chocolate chip pancakes.
I mean, This is why your mom is talking about the cardio.
Oh, geez.
A little early.
Come on. Cross the line. I apologize. What's your favorite kind of cheese?
Mozzarella.
A good choice. Can you give us some XFL? We want to contaminate the XFL.
Because you seem to really enjoy yourself. You're running all over the field. You were sweating at one point. You enjoyed the access. It's not as rigid as the NFL. It's not the NFL, but you seem to really enjoy the access that you had at the game.
So, Dan, imagine you told Stu that he had no rules. He can do whatever he wants on that show, on your show. What do you think the result would be?
I mean, total chaos. It would be awful, and we'd be fired within 6 weeks.
It'd be stupidity.
It would be stupidity. So they essentially, Oliver Luck, the commissioner, said to me right before the game, do whatever you want to do. Do anything, any interview. And I didn't really measure that. I didn't say to myself, okay, we'll just recall the fact that, you're a journalist and you've worked really hard at this and you should stay in that space. I went the complete opposite. I went like Saturday night at the Jersey Shore style in terms of approaching the game. And I was chasing everybody. I think my cell phone clocks my steps. It was like 12,400 steps I did in just a game. And look, some of it worked. I think some of it's really fun. Interviewing a kicker after he misses a 35-yard field goal is kind of fun because you never get to ask what happened. What was going through your mind, but it's also a little ridiculous too because, all right, we know he missed it. He probably overthought it. So I think this Saturday you guys will see a little bit of a scaled back version because I went a little crazy, and the videos I've seen of me running around, I'm very embarrassed.
The F-bomb situation, that's going to be, how are we going to manage that going forward, the fact that these live interviews, you're going to get raw stuff?
Okay, so you want some inside baseball. We not only have one person bleeping, like we have a guy that his job is to bleep. He presses the button. But on this show, we have two. So somehow in that interview, two people missed the bleep. It's so funny when I obviously heard it because I asked the player. And I haven't been in the situation in my career yet where anyone's cursed on camera with me. And you would have thought I was the biggest turd. I made a face on camera like, oh my God, he cursed. Oh my God. And thank God they caught the end of it because he went on and on. But yeah, I think it's going to be part of it. So I think you have to be careful. And hopefully the guys pressing the button are going to be a little bit more on their game this week.
We're going to send you some show phrases. We can get them in on Saturday, right? New York Guardians, D.C. Defenders, Saturday, 2 p.m. on ABC. Can we get some?
Man, that's a huge game.
Can we get some show phrases, Dianna?
I mean, the commissioner said whatever she wants to do.
Yes, whatever she wants to do. Yes or no, Dianna? Can we get some show phrases infiltrating the broadcast?
Dan, in all the years I've known you, a.k.a. 1 week since you thought I worked in Deportes, I feel like I should do it for you. So I will definitely find a phrase that you want me to.
All right.
Make sure it is on ABC.
Thank you.
But not for me. Just
at Batard Show. Send us some suggestions. Dianna, thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
Happy birthday.
Ponte los patines. Time for some ads.
She should ask a player what his favorite cheese is.
Oh, yeah.
My apologies not getting to the callers, guys. The phone line's not good enough to do that.
And she's at a diner.
1-800-Flowers. People, I'm getting enraged. Stugotz, tell them why.
Yep, today only, guys. I'm telling you, take advantage of this incredible offer. You can get 18 red roses for just $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. Roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 18 red roses for $29.99 or an upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. It is one of the best Valentine's offers you'll find, but it expires today and while supplies last. Guys, get it off your to-do list right now. You're just a couple of days away. To order 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. It's simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. Do it today. 1-800-Flowers.com, code Dan. You have no choice because the offer expires today.
You're engulfed in the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Got better stats than Joe Namath, doesn't he?
Broadway Joe.
Joe Namath is in the Hall of Fame. You've been useless this first hour. Like you're just sitting around waiting to say Broadway Joe, to belch out a Broadway Joe.
I gave you the snake, Eddie Stabler.
You've given me nothing. You are just playing the hits in terms of, let me be Maximum Stugotz today, Broadway Joe.
I could say Duck. You led with Duck. You should have Devlin Hodges.
Don't you ever get tired, though?
I know how to play the game.
Don't you ever get tired of just sitting around for an hour for when you can belch out a nickname?
I didn't ask for any of this. Let's see who's getting it done. Brought to you by Granger. In their rivalry game, Duke came back to defeat North Carolina in overtime. Trey Jones forced overtime after hitting a jumper at the buzzer. Jones had a chance to hit a game-winning jumper in overtime, but airballed it. Luckily for him, Wendell Moore was there to clean it up and hit the putback as time expired. The Duke Blue Devils getting it done. Delivering the products that keep your facility running is what Granger does best. They've been doing it for 90 years. Visit Granger.com for whatever you need, whenever you need it. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
So help me out here on some of the details. Beyond ruining it, did hedge fund managers and idiots end Deadspin? Did they end any reason to go check out Deadspin, which was an edgy pioneer when it came to coverage and giving power to blogs and finding audience at a time that it was difficult to find audience when you were not something mainstream. Did the people here who are afraid of politics and who have a lot of money just change Deadspin in a way that has ended it?
I mean, all of this, I think, is sort of an indirect result of Deadspin's past, really. It never finds itself in the situation that it needs hedge fund managers if it doesn't have the days of AJ being the editor of Deadspin. So in a weird way, it's paying for sins of yesteryear. However, the people that were suffering it were a lot of the independent contractor writers that were working for Deadspin.
A lot
at
of
the
talented
time.
people.
Lots of talented people, and it's not your dad's Deadspin. It did sort of pivot, and there was a lot of smart writing out there. They did the funny stuff too, but Deadspin, for a producer in this industry, was a website that you would visit several times a day to see what the funny news was, what sort of interesting articles
What are you
that were
laughing
out there.
about, Billy?
I still do. I forget that it's not active, and then I'm like, oh yeah, look.
I've been
Jackson
same here.
slacks the
Still my
pads.
favorites bar.
I still can't shake the habit of typing in Deadspin in my address bar. I still
A constant source of content.
Bad day for Kellen Winslow to take a plea deal.
Yeah,
It's
it's been
frozen
up
there
there forever.
forever.
And one of the things is after all the writers left, they started removing all their work and just started putting like one sentence passive aggressive blurbs on as a story item next to a headline. It was just like get the clicks, get the clicks. And I think like all the writers still have like the social media passwords, and this as a brand still has to have some monetary value, you would think. Deadspin still has name recognition, but it's out there just floating.
I don't know what the value of these things are, given that Sports Illustrated, when it was in town for the Miami Super Bowl stuff, it was basically as some sort of unrecognizable arm of Sports Illustrated, where they're having just these parties for hedge fund people, and it has next to nothing to do with journalism. I got to get you some stats I looked up the other day on basically all of the remaining journalists we have in the country. Like, I think I've got to look up the numbers because I don't want to get it wrong. It's Washington Post, New York Times, and Wall Street Journal. And there are no other places where this is functioning unless you've got enormously rich people like Bezos, like Warren Buffett, investing in newspapers. But what are these hedge fund people going to do with what they have on Deadspin other than forever have up the plea agreement of Kellen Winslow?
Keep it locked to the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Satisfying crunch of Nature Valley Crunchy Bars can keep your family going, which means more outside fun for you. And with whole grain oats and real delicious honey, It's really tasty, too. Nature Valley Oats and Honey Crunchy Bars. For all the latest headlines and information, tune to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Guillermo, put it on the poll, please. Did you know the albatross could fly for years without landing? This is from Paul Farhi on Twitter, Stugotz. I know many of you don't care about journalism. You certainly don't care about my love of journalism, but this right here is alarming. If you take the newsroom head count at the New York Times, 1,700, the Washington Post, 850, and the Wall Street Journal, 1,000 to 1,200, these three newspapers employ nearly 1 out of every 5 newspaper journalists still left in the U.S. That is not something that we could have seen coming, even though most of you know and understand why it is that newspapers died in terms of the print version. You understand the business mechanics of giving something away for free on the internet that is today's news, as opposed to throwing yesterday's news in your bushes and asking you to pay for it. But it should jar you if you believe at all in the idea of checks and balances. I know many of you hate the media. And you love to hate the media, but it should jar you that you don't have more people here speaking truth to power and holding accountable the importance of the truth, even as many of you think that the truth is not something you read in newspapers.
I'm not certain how jarring it is because of the reasons you just gave, but I'm wondering from your perspective, that makes you sad, right? Incredibly sad?
Well, it actually makes me more afraid than sad. That's what I believe in, the importance of newspapers. I believe in the idea of checks and balances, but I understand how it is that the business model very quickly became antiquated. But I don't think that the people listening to me right now can dispute the fact that the content is important. The ability to hold powerful people who are in charge. I don't know how Bezos is running the Washington Post. They're doing amazing work at the Washington Post, as they have for 70 years. I don't know if Bezos, as he buys everything in the world and becomes an American conqueror who is just changing retail, I don't know if he's going to allow the Washington Post to investigate the stuff that he does, or he's just sort of controlling a media entity. I don't know if he believes, I haven't heard him interviewed on this subject, I don't know if he believes in the idea of newspapers as newspapers, or if it's just another arm of his Amazon empire, the same way that he's got to pour money into studios so that he doesn't pay any taxes, and he's just investing all of the money back into his businesses so that Amazon could make whatever it was last year in the billions and pay $0 in taxes.
But that number, the number you just gave out, the number of journalists, right? And it's been
it's newspaper journalists.
But is that enough for the checks and balances that are important to you, I guess is what I'm asking.
For now, right? The New York Times is growing. The New York Times is employing more and more people because they've figured out the business model on the internet. They've made it so that it is so, look, man, I can't get the shipping container to climb over a paywall for anything, no matter how much good stuff the Washington Post. I'm not saying
climb over it with your password.
Yeah, of course.
I'll rappel down that paywall if you just give me that, P-dub.
Just expensive, man. Just expensive.
And what's funny is I asked my bosses for like a password, and they're like, "Does Dan have one?"
Yeah.
Still waiting for my ESPN Plus. I mean.
Do you guys want to share with the audience all the stuff that you were discussing during the break about elevators and elevator habits?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
So one of my takes during the break was I think Billy would be simultaneously the best person and the worst person to be stuck in an elevator with.
All right. First off,
let him finish. Why?
Because no doubt in his backpack lies the answer to our freedom. Yeah. But he is going to be very scared the second that he realizes that we're stuck. Yeah. I mean, I believe sweating, panic attacks, hyperventilating, these are all likely scenarios. But if you can sift through the garbage in his bag, there might be something of use that can get you out of there.
The reason this came up, by the way, is we all park in this parking garage that we're all grateful for, but the elevator is the last option in terms of transportation.
That's a fancy parking lot.
There's a staircase.
But we've all been there occasionally.
There's a staircase, there's a ramp, and there's an elevator.
You found human poop on the stairway the last time you were on it.
I did several times, actually. Yes.
It is
yes.
whenever I do park there, it is easily the safest option is to walk down the ramp.
Correct.
In the direction of oncoming traffic.
Where the valet people are coming and they're coming.
Yeah.
quick.
You need to make sure to look at the
They're going to kill
the
someone.
mirrors.
I'm not
Yeah.
joking, man.
Yeah. You need to look at the mirrors because they come around the corner kind of fast. But the safest of options is just walking down the ramp rather than
walking into oncoming traffic.
Yeah, instead of going in the elevator or walking down the stairs.
Where you might confront human poop.
Yeah, you never know what's lurking in that staircase.
But so we agree the stairs are the option. You go elevator or stairs if you only have
Elevator
one?
to me is the last option.
It's like, because you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
you
I
just
do know. I know that there's always like a paper on the doors of the elevator saying it was broken.
No more than 5 people.
Yeah, no more than
It
no more
might
than
as
2.5
well say you might
people.
not make it.
Yeah.
And Stugotz said that he once got trapped in that elevator with Poppy.
No, we thought we were trapped for about a minute on the 3rd floor. People got off, doors closed. It did not move for a minute. And then I realized I didn't press a button. And then it started moving again, and that's how I started thinking about who I would most want to be in an elevator with. And Poppy is my guy.
I feel like I'd be fun because I wouldn't panic. I'd have a good attitude about it. Like, it's going to be fine. Let's just sit down and let's talk.
Billy thought you were somebody who would jump up
He's
and
a
down.
classic elevator jumper.
Well,
if
that's
I've
when it's
ever met one
working.
in my life.
When it's working, I like to, hey, guys, boom. And then they're like, hey, stop. Like, all panicked. It's like, they got this. It's fine.
He's a
The elevator.
classic elevator
If I've ever
jumper.
seen one. Yeah, if I've ever seen one.
Textbook.
Guys, this is what you need to do when you enter an elevator. All right?
Oh, good God.
First thing you need to do, if you've ever seen any movie where they have to escape through an elevator, every elevator seems to have a panel in the ceiling that you move, and that's how you get out in case of emergency. First thing you do, if you're going to get in an elevator that goes over, 2 or 3 flights, identify that panel immediately. Because, as Mike was pointing out, it's going to get hot in there because there's no air conditioning. In Florida, Florida, hot. A hot state. So imagine if you're just trapped in this metal box suspended by cables. Crazy. I don't even know who invented elevators. Crazy idea. But you need to kind of see the panels, look around, figure out this is the one, and then you need to see if there's a railing on the side that you can use to kind of hop up, get yourself out of there. You need good upper body strength. You're going to pull yourself out of the elevator, and then you got to hope that you're not stuck between 2 floors, right? You want to be stuck on a floor so you can kind of just go over and then try to pry open the door. So if you have kind of like some sort of crowbar or some sort of stick of some kind, that'll help you pry open the door. You hop out, help people up.
Why would you have
Free.
a crowbar or a stick of some kind on you?
Well, I'm hoping that those things are just at the top of an elevator just in case.
Oh, just on the roof of the elevator?
There really should be like a roof first aid kit on an elevator, right? In case they break down. How
Good
often do
idea.
elevators break down? Oh, we should make that, Stu.
The inventor
on
of
it.
elevators is Jack Elevator, by the way.
It's Elisha Otis.
Ah, Otis.
Yeah, who died at the ripe old age of 49.
Whoa!
It's the worst joke ever told on the show.
Channeling, you can go. Yes, you can go. You're
You don't
channeling.
need to ask.
Elevator.
You are channeling the spirit of your father on a Tuesday because he is on a disco cruise. I see how pink your neck and face are from the shame of that Jack Elevator joke. So bad.
A Drews.
Look, I don't dance now. I make money move.
I honestly thought it couldn't get any worse than Billy just for some reason giving us 90 seconds on how to escape an elevator.
Good
But
tips.
I almost went with Steve.
Elevator?
Steve
Yeah.
Elevator
No,
would've been
Jack Elevator's better.
How am I still here?
Oh, yeah. Why are you still here?
ZipRecruiter. Business owners, do yourself a favor. Make sure you hire the best people through ZipRecruiter. Tell them, God.
Yep, hiring can be a challenge, as Codable co-founder Gretchen Hebner discovered. Gretchen needed to hire a game artist for her education tech company, so she went to ZipRecruiter.com, posted her job, and found the right person in less than 2 weeks. How? ZipRecruiter's technology finds people with the right experience and invites them to apply to your job. It's no wonder 4 to 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, try ZipRecruiter for free at our web address, ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/DAN.
Keep it on the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
And finally, Fruit Loops are all the same flavor, just different colors. I refuse to believe that.
Is that right?
I refuse to believe it. I mean, try the grapefruit Loop and tell me that doesn't taste different than the cherry one, because it does. I love Fruit Loops.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Lebatard Show. Did you know that all of Fruit Loops were the same flavor, just different color?
Refuse to believe it. The show. You can listen to all 3 hours of the Dan Lebatard Show, plus our Miami Only Hour and our Best of Podcast on demand in the ESPN app, and subscribe to the Lebatard and Friends Podcast Network featuring South Beach Sessions, Stupidity, and Mystery Crate. Please rate and subscribe. New episodes are posted every week wherever you get your podcasts. Greg Cody is on a disco cruise, but he was here. He'd be giving you the straight talk. Would he? Brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less, only at Walmart.
The newest South Beach session is out, correct, Mike?
Yes.
We have Brianna Stewart. We talk about the idea that U.S. women's basketball, while as overwhelming as anything that we have in sports, is not something that has very much value in the United States, even though they're more dominant than the U.S. soccer team of Megan Rapinoe and them girls. And it is an interesting conversation with her, and Sarah Spain is also very good on the subject if you want to check out that South Beach session. But what we need from you more than anything, because all we're trying to do there is give you a variety of menu options so you can consume whatever it is that you want to when you are bored. We need you to rate, subscribe, and review to support the stuff that we're doing so we can continue to get sponsorship for it, so we can continue to make it and expand it and give you more and more of this stuff. I wanted to get into a handful of basketball things here, Stugotz. The Darren Collison thing was funny as the Clippers and Lakers wined and dined him, and then he's like, nah, never mind, I'll stay retired. When both of those teams are as close as you can be to winning a title.
He watched a recent Lakers game sitting right next to Jeannie Buss.
I know, but they were wining and dining him, and he's like, never mind. I don't even want to play half a season.
It reminded me of Mike Bibby, and I think it was Troy Murphy. I mean, when the Heat were going...
But they actually did it. They didn't just stay retired.
Right.
They came to the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics, but I also wanted to get into Andre Drummond and the idea that he's out here for the Cleveland Cavs saying, hey, I've been shooting threes for 8 years. He's saying that's a part of my game. Andre Drummond, who became a dinosaur in 5 minutes. Like, he was somebody everyone would have wanted 5 years ago. What do you mean there's a 20-20 guy who's 7 feet tall and athletic? Oh, never mind. He can't shoot threes. Let's send him to Cleveland for a bag of beans. But Stugotz wants to talk about whether LeBron, if he wins one for Kobe, can be bigger in Los Angeles than Kobe.
I'm just wondering. I'm asking the question. I mean, I feel like perhaps I know the answer, but if he dedicates, and they have, the rest of the season to Kobe Bryant, and they win a title this year for Kobe Bryant, would that possibly make LeBron bigger in that market than Kobe Bryant?
I literally do not think that there is a single thing that LeBron James could ever do that's reasonable, right? Not winning the next 10 titles. I don't think there's a single thing that LeBron James could ever do, nothing, that would make him surpass Kobe Bryant and what his legacy is. And I too thought it was really cool this weekend, the photograph that was taken of him.
Amazing.
A beautiful artistic photograph, scissor kicking in the air, a perfect sports photograph. But I also found wonderful, as LeBron James is out here saying, look, the spirit of Kobe exists in all of us. His encyclopedic sort of knowledge of the past, his ability 19 years after the fact on a fast break to recreate the physicality of a Kobe Bryant dunk, where he was doing it in memory of Kobe Bryant, and it looked like Kobe Bryant in terms of artistic style. But I'm trying to come up with, what is the hypothetical? Someone give me the hypothetical thing that could happen that would even allow us to entertain the idea that LeBron James could be bigger in Los Angeles than Kobe Bryant, given the emotional, never mind the recent stuff, Stugotz,
Right.
which is just overwhelming emotionally. The emotional connection that city has to him is based on seeing him go from a teenager to a legend. They saw the whole thing.
Right.
He only did it on their watch. He made messes along the way. He was demanding to be traded at one point. He shooed Shaquille O'Neal out of town. But once he won the championship,
He almost signed with the Clippers.
Once he won the championship without Shaq, after pushing Shaq out of town, after saying publicly while teammates with Shaq, something you never see. This guy's fat. He doesn't care enough. While teammates with him. Like,
Right.
it's just not something ever see. And then to win a championship
To win
after he gets rid of Shaq.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just the timing of it and the impact that it had and the impact Kobe had on that market. I was just wondering, like, if LeBron could win one for Kobe this year, would that, catapult him ahead of Kobe Bryant in terms of
I feel like
popularity?
Kobe,
Probably not.
I feel like Kobe's spirit would get more credit than LeBron would for that.
Really?
That people would say it was, destined to be and do all those maudlin things as if they soothe anyone's pain who is actually grieving the loss of a loved one. But can any of you come up with the hypothetical? Because I don't believe winning. First of all, you'd have to win more championships for Los Angeles, Stugotz, and there's not even time to do that.
Yeah,
No, I know, but
Kobe won 5.
I know, but winning a championship this year dedicated to Kobe
Yeah, but you're
Bryant
saying
and
it-
the Bryant family.
Yeah, but you're saying in order to surpass Kobe, he has to dedicate something to Kobe.
No, he's bringing feel good to a place that feels miserable
Yeah,
right now.
but it'll all be for Kobe. It's fine. He's going to be in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, you're going to be in Kobe Bryant's shadow. I think he kind of. I don't know if he knew it to this degree, but considering how much time he has left on his career, it's impossible to sort of surpass Kobe's influence, certainly now.
Keep it on the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. The Wild have traded Jason Zucker to the Penguins for Alex Golinchuk, Kalen Addison, and a 2020 conditional first-round pick.
Galchenyuk.
Okay. Hertha Berlin's head coach Jurgen Klinsmann has given up that role, but will remain with the club in a supervisory role. Hertha Berlin is currently 14th in Bundesliga and are 6 points ahead of relegation. Soccer. And finally, Mountain Dew was initially developed to be a whiskey mixer. Jack and Dew. SportsCenter is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Think ahead, think advance. At any time, 1 in 4 batteries is about to fail. Get a free battery test and free installation with any automotive battery purchase only at Advance Auto Parts. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Chris Cody was very stressed taking his daughter to the park. We'll get to that in a second. But first, happy 76th birthday to Bernie Bickerstaff.
Happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
Wow, I just got a Kevin Gilbride-like smile from Roy Bellamy because of the name Bernie Bickerstaff. What happened there for you that made you nostalgic?
Memories of this show.
Me not knowing that he was black?
Exactly.
Okay, so, Bernie Bickerstaff, put it on the poll, Guillermo at Le Batard Show. Is Bernie Bickerstaff a black name? And the reason I ask this question is because, Bill Simmons for a long time was doing the Reggie Cleveland All-Stars. Reggie Cleveland was a Canadian baseball player. You hear the name Reggie Cleveland, that is not a white person. It's just not, but it was. And I was wondering, and if you guys want to play this game, this dangerous game, 786-456-4837 is the telephone number. We have nothing that can knock this off the mountaintop in terms of in terms of getting this one wrong. Here is the Stugotz apology for something he got egregiously wrong. Stugotz, you should probably apologize here. We should apologize for what happened last segment. It went off the rails on us. What do you want to say?
I will apologize. You don't need to apologize for anything. I need to apologize. They are my weekend observations. I said what I said. I had no idea, and I apologize to Jonathan Coachman, who has tweeted at us, and he's upset and has every right to be upset. I honestly, and anyone who knows me will understand this and believe this, I honestly, until after the segment ended and we went to commercial break, had no idea that Jonathan Coachman was black.
You have never delivered anything in terms of cadence that has more comedic perfection than that. The way that you kept stopping and starting, and then you just...
Anyone knows me. Anyone that knows me knows how I can run
the way before he gets to the punchline, which is just amazing. And
you don't need to apologize.
Now, furthermore, this was not name based. This was after seeing Jonathan Coachman on television and sort of making a bunch of jokes about tanning machines.
Oh, those were Abby's jokes.
They were his wife's jokes. Stugotz, you should probably apologize here. We should apologize for what happened last segment. It went off the rails on us. What do you want to say?
I will apologize. You don't need to apologize for anything. I need to apologize. They are my weekend observations. I said what I said. I had no idea, and I apologize to Jonathan Coachman, who has tweeted at us, and he's upset and has every right to be upset. I honestly, and anyone who knows me will understand this and believe this, I honestly, until after the segment ended and we went to commercial break, had no idea that Jonathan Coachman was black.
It's always there. Just lives there.
It is unbelievable how good it is. These guys were howling. What were you guys laughing about back there? After all of these years, you still are laughing at this stuff. Billy doesn't want anyone near the microphone right now. He's just afraid of all of this.
In defense of Abby, okay, my wife, we were watching SportsCenter
She
together.
just thought he was tan.
It was Jonathan Coachman and Max Bretos, and what she was discussing was how good-looking both of them were.
That's right.
That's what she was saying.
Okay.
I thought they were your observations.
That's a good pivot.
So
Excellent.
you're walking back the apology now?
No. I was just explaining the rest of the story. It's been a while. That's all. I mean, oh, that sound.
He is really suffering it. There's very little around here that makes Stugotz feel shame and genuinely wince. That is at the top of the list. By the way, I don't know if you guys know this. Stugotz is not sure about Zion.
He's black.
He's not sure. No, he's not sure about Zion's future.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Good transition.
I see a guy out there. I'm going back to the game he recently played against the Bucks, and I realize Giannis can do that to a lot of people. But Zion, he's just the pudginess does not help.
It's not really
the limping around the court. That
really.
white thing he has on his leg. I don't know if this guy. It's sloppy. I'm going to say it.
It sucks.
It's just all of it is sloppy, and I don't know if he's going to turn into this generational player we all thought he was going to be. Next LeBron, next Michael, next Kobe, next this. I don't think I'm not certain. The sniff test is not something that he has passed for me.
What
he just hasn't done it.
What does he have on his legs, Stugotz?
I mean, he's got this like white thing around his leg, but it's like it's not a perfect fit. It's
but what is
sloppy.
You're not okay. But
when
what
he wears a
is
suit, I imagine half the shirt is hanging
Anklet?
out. It's not all tucked in. It's not all put together. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think a lot of people would look at Zion Williamson and say pudgy.
I don't know what other word to.
I think
There's
most
some baby
would.
fat there.
Yeah,
I
most
mean,
would.
yeah.
It's part of his. It's part of his deal.
Baby fat.
Thank you.
Pudgy. All right, put it on the poll, Guillermo, at
Thick.
Lebitard Show.
With 2 C's.
Yeah.
And Giannis just, I mean, first off, it was kind of cute to see Zion Williamson. He could not believe he was on the same court as Giannis. Like, he has found himself at times, by his own admission, like, These are guys that grew up
But he's
watching,
19.
which is really funny considering he grew up watching Giannis.
Giannis is like 25, isn't he? Giannis is also very young. You talk about the freak show spectacle, though, of the NBA and these human beings who are sized differently than anyone you've ever met in your life. And Zion Williamson is one of them. There was something funny that happened yesterday in the Dallas games. Did you guys see this? Where a basketball got stuck somewhere that people couldn't reach behind the backboard. And so they bring out Porzingis with a stick because we don't want to do it with a ladder, but it's a little high up. And so Porzingis is what, 7'3"? He's 7'4",
something like that.
but he couldn't get it out. So then they summoned Boban. Right, in terms of the freak show spectacle. And so you guys think that this is funny, right? Porzingis has to get out of the way so that Boban's got some sort of pole that he's trying to get the ball with. And then you know who's laughing hardest on the sidelines? That the little person, JJ Barea, is laughing on the sidelines.
LeBron's nemesis.
Yes, LeBron's nemesis. Thank you, Stugotz. I appreciate the uselessness of that commentary with a fake, insincere, with you hitting from the notes, LeBron's nemesis. Just so lazy.
Zion shooting 60% from the field.
He does. Every time you look up, he goes 9 for 11. And Stugotz is out here calling him pudgy and
sloppy, man.
Sloppy, pudgy, and walking with a limp with a white thing on his leg.
Listen, it's hanging off. It's dangling. It's not tight on the
But
leg.
I just feel like that is excellent analysis for you to carve out the position no one else is taking, questioning Zion Williamson and not having anything in terms of facts on your side other than the white thing on his leg.
It's a baby fat.
I mean,
and the shirt's not all the way tucked in.
Billy, what are you doing back there? Why do I have the skeptical Billy
I don't
face?
even know what he's doing.
Oh,
He's
Billy,
talking
you know what
about
I'm doing.
shorts.
Billy.
Yeah.
When you look at Zion Williamson, are you seeing LeBron James? Are you seeing Michael Jordan? Are you seeing Kobe Bryant? Are you even seeing Shaquille O'Neal?
I mean,
like, are you seeing the next
you're going to the
generational
top,
player?
like the top players ever.
Well, no, but that's what he's supposed to be.
I didn't see that initially in their first few games, too.
Oh, you knew right away with MJ. Trust me.
No, you didn't. They
you
spent
knew right
6 years criticizing him.
You knew eventually what happened with MJ.
Not-
I'm not certain
that's
it will ever
not-
happen
He
with
was called
Zion.
a ball hog the first 6 years.
But you knew it would happen. Same with Kobe. Same with Shaq. Same with Magic.
with Kobe. He was
Kobe
off the
was
bench.
off the bench at the beginning.
Kobe had moments where he took over games and you knew
He
it was going
shot
to happen.
air balls in the playoffs to lose against Utah.
Yeah, but they were pretty air balls, I'm telling you. I mean, the hang time, all of it. I mean, just bad shots. But you knew eventually it was going to happen. With Zion, I'm not certain if it's ever going to happen. I'm
He's
sorry.
the Nigerian vegetable vendor. He knows everything after it's happened.
Look, I don't dance now. I make money moves.
It's quite the reference.
If you don't get the Nigerian vegetable vendor, I will have to explain it to you. It was a Nigerian guy who sold vegetables, and somebody was selling human meat out of a nearby market, and he went to the papers and said, I knew they were doing that.
I knew all along.
I knew all along
I
that
knew
something was up, that human meat was being sold next door. That is Stugotz, the Nigerian vegetable vendor. When Kobe shot those air balls in the playoffs, I knew he was going to be one of the best players ever.
But now, see, what I'm doing is I'm doing it on the front end with Zion. And so 10 years from now, we all say, wow, Zion didn't live up to expectations. I'll say, I told you so.
Like you did with Mahomes.
Yeah. Oh, man, that hurt.
1-800-Flowers.
And do it again. And then when you're done, do it again. And then do it 3 more times, and you'll be tied with Brady. Just tied with Brady.
This
Get my math right?
is the last time I'm going to tell you this today. But I am going to get enraged over the next few days if you don't handle this 1-800-Flowers thing, because Valentine's Day is coming up. Tell them, Stugotz, how to fix everything in their love life.
Yep, and today would be the perfect day, because today only you can get 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to 24 stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. You get 18 for $29.99 or 24 a vase and just $5 more. Guys, take care of your business today. I'm serious. Right around the corner, roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 18 red roses for $29.99. And freshness was the word I was looking for there. 18 red roses, $29.99, or an upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase, just $5 more. It's one of the best Valentine's offers you'll find, but it expires today and only while supplies last. To order 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to 24 roses plus a vase for only $5 more. Simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Dan. Hurry. The offer expires today.
Give me more of the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Today on ESPN Daily, Phillip Rivers is a free agent. What will next year hold for him? Or Tom Brady? Or Drew Brees? Dan Graziano breaks down the quarterback market. That's ESPN Daily with Mina Kimes, presented by ADT. Download, subscribe, and review ESPN Daily, available wherever you enjoy your podcasts.
Phillip Rivers, that's about where the expiration date has been historically on a quarterback. That's Eli Manning is retiring at the same sort of age. Tom Brady, 5 years older than both of them. It's crazy. It really is. He has aged like no one in the history of the position.
Weird.
And we're still out here talking about Tom Brady as someone who's going to be a difference maker when he just had the last 10 weeks. He just had exactly what that is supposed to look like when you are a quarterback of Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning's age, not of Tom Brady's age.
I don't think Tom envisioned it would look like a pick-6 final pass in New England at Gillette Stadium. I don't think he ever envisioned that regardless of age. So I'd be shocked if he doesn't come back and play for that team because of that, honestly.
But play well?
I mean, I'm not right. Dan, I care about you.
Okay. At Le Batard Show.
Cared about us last year.
Yeah, and it didn't
he
matter.
lost to a quarterback
I picked the
for like
Titans.
87 yards.
I got to be loud right. I never get to be loud right.
You were right.
At Le Batard Show is how you vote on the polls on Twitter. Before we do that, though, we have some Bill Walton sound for you. It is always the most splendiferous of sound. What is this from Bill Walton?
Dan, I don't know if you know that the XFL started last week, and those games broadcast on Fox, but also ESPN. And we're very excited about it.
We are?
So excited that Bill Walton was asked to give some takes about the XFL. Primarily, he was asked about the team names, and he decided to make a sound for each team that he heard. Here is Bill Walton, courtesy of the worldwide leader.
We know how you like to make noises when you're calling a game, and it's the Ducks you like to quack, or the Wildcats you like to whatever it is you do. So how about you go ahead and give us a noise for each XFL team?
Dragons, breathing fire. Defenders, yes. The Trojans providing the protection against whatever is going to come your way. The Battle Hawks. More than 350 species of birds live right here in the Santa Cruz Valley, in the Ring of Fire, in the Sonoran Desert. Guardians, okay?
Yeah,
Roughnecks, okay?
There's no
Roughnecks.
Trojans, by the way.
No, but the Guardians. Guardians are like Trojans. Vipers. Give me some more names.
You covered them. You got them all.
What sport is that?
That's football, the XFL.
That's a great Viper.
He's been making Trojan jokes across ESPN's airwaves for about 10 days. He had like 3 condom jokes in there. Whatever comes your way.
Vipers.
He nailed it.
What sport are we talking about?
Vipers. Give me some more names.
You covered them. You got them all.
What sport is that?
That's football, the XFL.
Why is Walton not doing more for this network?
You just heard.
Vipers.
That's we're at about our max on where it is you can allow him to roam.
But he's our guy. I mean,
I know, but you got to be careful. You understand that there are a whole lot of vice presidents at ESPN who are just protecting their jobs, saying, hey, Put him on the Pepperdine game.
Vipers.
There are some that say too much, Walton.
Too much, Walton. What? Let's go ahead and update the polls at LeBatard Show on Twitter.
Clean up the last few from yesterday. Are the Red Sox going to prove that you don't actually need a manager when spring training starts? 85% of the audience said yes.
Heartbreaking news. Jerry Glanville passed on our interview request.
Oh, Jesus.
Mike.
I thought you said he had died. Mike, $50, Mike. $50.
We're almost killing him.
You made us think that Jerry Glanville. You said he passed while saying very sad news.
I was very quick to say on our interview.
No, there was a pause that felt like it was forever.
Why did Glanville? Wait a minute. That's where we are.
I mean, it was a very embarrassing loss for the Tampa Bay Vipers. They don't want to talk to the media right now. They just want to move on to Seattle.
Keep things moving along. Trestman's message to the team, unacceptable.
Yeah. Wow. We need some accountability in this room. Wow.
You owe $50.
I said he passed.
Mike, the way you said it, I mean.
You made it sound like Jerry Glanville had died, and that is the maximum allowable fine around here when we kill people who are not dead.
If the Nuggets win the title, should we cancel sports radio? 88% of the audience said yes. Sonny Jurgensen was ahead of his time, this guy. 75% of the audience said, yep.
Didn't work. Don't try and make up for the fact that you killed Jerry Glanville. Didn't work.
This was the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.